biles. Then simple lipids are simple our fatty foods and ghee, butters, etc. Compound lipids are when well combined with other nutrients such as proteins combined with fats is lipoproteins, carbohydrates with glycolipids, and phosphates when well combined with lipids known as phospholipids. Then derived lipids refers to fatty acid, glycerol, cholesterol, other compounds including fat soluble vitamins, hormones and biles also included in derived lipids. Man can synthesize cholesterol in the body. Some cholesterols are production in our body and some we take through our food. Some we intake in through our food such as oily fatty foods and also invisible visible fatty foods, and some produce in our body. It is known as derived lipids. Cholesterol is present only in food of animal origin. We found cholesterol. We found cholesterol in our body through the animal source of lipids. Then, nature of fatty acid present in the triglyceride determine the psychochemicals, and fatty acid can be discussed in the following heads. One is saturated and unsaturated fatty acid. All you know that saturated are solidified in room temperature, unsaturated is liquefied in room temperature. Short chain, one is medium chain and another one is long chain. Okay. Then essential fatty long chain is very good. Medium chain is also very good for our body, and short chain is lipids. Essential fatty acid and trans fatty acid. Four types of fatty acids are there. Then saturated fatty acids are solidified in room temperature, or it is known as vanaspatis, butters, ghees, etc. And monounsaturated fatty acids are contain a single bond of lipids, and it is palmitic oleic acid. Oleic acid, it is 16 is to 1 bond, then 18 is to 1 bond. Sources of olive oil, canola oil, groundnut oil, which those oils will take regularly through our foods. It is monounsaturated fatty acids, and polyunsaturated fatty acids or MUFA contain more than one double bond in their structure. Then here, then table 5.2, fats and oils and their fatty acids are there. Saturated fatty acids, ghee, butter, coconut and palm oil, kernel oil. Monounsaturated olive, canola, groundnut. And polyunsaturated fatty acids are sunflower oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, sesame oil, etc. Polyunsaturated fatty acid is very good for our health. Then what is short chain fatty acids? It contains 6 carbon chain length and smaller than carbonic acids. Then butter contains small chain fatty acid. These are obtained during fermentation. During fermentation, butter is obtained, and it is known as short chain fatty acids. Then medium chain fatty acid is 10 to 6 to 10 carbon length present in butter and coconut oil, and it is very much recommended for liver disorder, then pancreatitis, any abdominal disorder. It can be easily absorbed in our body. That's why medium chain triglyceride or medium chain fatty acids are good for our health. Then last one is long chain fatty acid contain more than 12 carbon atoms. Lauric acid, mystric acid are atherogenic, and which are essential fatty acids. Essential fatty acids are linoleic and linolenic acids mentioned in the above. And then the types are omega 3 and omega 6 fatty acids. Essential fatty acids, one is omega 3 and another one is omega 6 fatty acids. Part of vital body structure, perform important role in immune system, formation of cell membrane, produce hormone like compounds like sphenocyte, and these hormones compounds includes prostaglandins, leukotrienes, etc. These compounds are protein regulator of vital function in our body. The omega 3 and omega 6 act as a very role to enhances our vital immune system. It increases our immune system, and it also helps us to do vital body functions like blood pressure, childbirth, blood clotting, immune response. What these kinds of which those are lots of fatty acids are there, which is very essential for our body in our vital functions such as heart, blood pressure, childbirth, blood clotting, etc. And these two are omega 3 and omega 6 fatty acids. जो essential fatty acids अच्छे essential एथिपाई लिखा होची, it is very much essential for our body. It is good fats. Then two types of good fats are there. One is omega 3 and 6. It act as a very good receptor or very good conductor to conduct a very vital functions such as blood pressure, childbirth, ये सब जिन जो vital body functions हमर चालुची तो सही जगह रे ये सब fatty acid, essential fatty acid रो बहुत requirement अच्छी. Then aspirin is known to inhibit blood clotting because it blocks synthesis of escalonase, and physician prescribe small doses of aspiration on regular basis for patients at high risk of heart attack. Then last one is trans fat acid. Trans fatty acids are very bad for our health because when vegetable oils are hydrogenated or heated in very high temperature to make margarines, to make hydrogenated fatty acids and shortening and bonaspatis, in these cases this form of lipids is known as trans fat acids. ଯେତେବେଳେ ତେଲ ଘିଅ ବହୁତ ହାଇ ଟେମ୍ପରେଚରରେ ବାରମ୍ବାର ରିହିଟେଡ୍ ହୁଏ ବା ହିଟ୍ ହୁଏ ତ ସେଇ ଟାଇମ୍ରେ ଗୋଟେ ଲିପିଡ୍ ପ୍ରଡ୍ୟୁସ୍ ହୁଏ ବା ଗୋଟେ ଫ୍ୟାଟ୍ସ ପ୍ରଡକ୍ସନ୍ ହୁଏ ଯେଉଁଟାକି ଭେରି ବ୍ୟାଡ୍ ଫର୍ ଆୱାର ହେଲ୍ଥ. ଇଟ୍ ନୋନ୍ ଆଜ୍ trans fat acid. It can trans fat acid or saturated fatty acid raises blood cholesterol level in our body. Then digestion of fats. The enzyme in human is gut, which is responsible for fat digestion, is lipase. Lipase is secreted by both stomach and pancreas. Then in previous classes we had already studied that carbohydrate started digestion through our mouth and protein started digestion in our stomach, then ends in duodenum, and the fat digestion also fat digestion in our small intestine. Then responsible fat is lipase is the enzyme which is very responsible to digestion of the fats. It is secreted both from pancreas, it is a pancreatic enzyme, and through stomach also. ସେଇଟା secret ହୁଏ ଆମର lipase ଟା ହେଲା pancreatic enzymes ଆଉ both stomach रो भी secretion हुए plus ଆମର pancreas ରୁ lipase रो ଆମର fat digestion हुए. In stomach the dietary lipids can liquidized in presence of heat and gastric contraction. Gastric contraction और heat द्वारा तो ये जो lipase enzyme रो हमारा fat digestion start हुए. Gastric lipase can also hydrolyze 30% of triglyceride, short and medium chain length. Only fat milk which contain some short and medium chain fatty acids tend to hydrolyze. And mostly diet which provide long chain fatty acids, pancreatic juice and bile are secreted together, and most of the diet which contain long chain fatty acids entirely depend on emulsification by bile in gut. ଆମର alimentary canals ରେ emulsification ହେଇକି by bile तो ସେଇଠି ଆମର digestion process ଟା start हुए in long chain fatty acids. The pancreatic juice and bile are secreted together through common bile duct in the duodenum. Then pancreatic juice is lipase and bile are secreted together through common bile duct. In common bile duct they were in common bile duct the fats are digestion with the help of enzymes secreted from pancreas, enzymes secreted from pancreatic such as lipase, and the biles are comes from and it's combined with and it's mixed in common bile duct and the fats digestion the end of the fats digestion in common bile duct. ମାନେ ଆମର pancreas ରୁ lipase enzyme ଆସିବ, ଏଇଠୁ ଆମର bile secretion ହବ common bile duct ରେ ଆମର digestion process ଟା fats digestion process ଟା start ହବ. Then bile emulsifies the fat into hydrophilic micelles making lipase more efficient to act. Pancreatic lipase is specified to hydrolyze primary ester linkage to carbon position. ତେଣୁକରି ଫାଏଟ୍ ଡାଇଜେସନରେ ଆମକୁ ଲାଇପେଜ୍ ଦରକାର, ବାଇଲ୍ ଦରକାର, ସେଇଟା ପୁଣି ହୁଏ ଆମର କମନ୍ ବାଇଲ୍ ଡକ୍ଟରେ। ଦେନ୍ ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ ଆର୍ ଦ absorption of fats? After digestion, only 25% triglycerides are broken completely to glycerol and fatty acids. After digestion, 25% triglycerides are broken completely to glycerol and fatty acids. Major digestion products, this is because lipase can hydrolyze esters linkage to position and utilization of fat free for activation of fatty acid and glycerol inside mucosal cell and triglycerol. Then hence long chain fatty acid, more than 10 carbon atoms, phospholipids, cholesterol absorbed in lymphatic vessels. Last end of the lymphatic vessels absorb the phospholipids, cholesterol and long chain triglycerides or fatty acids. Then the plant sterol fat soluble vitamins are A, D, E, K are all absorbed like long chain fatty acid. The long chain fatty acids or A, D, E, K are all fat soluble vitamins, and these are after digestion it is absorbed into the lymphatic vessels. Then in liver disorder, long chain fatty acids may be replaced by medium chain triglyceride. In liver disorder हो कि pancreatitis हो कि any in digestive disorder हो तो सेठी कौन हुए ना हमको long chain fatty acids are not absorbed properly. Then in that cases, medium chain triglyceride, medium chain fatty acids are very much essential to absorb in our body. Then in deficiency or absence of adequate bile, long chain triglyceride absorption may or may not be affected. Hence fat is given to patient of liver disorder as per their tolerance. According to the tolerance of the patient, according to the tolerance of the person, we give instead of long chain fatty acid, we are advised to take medium chain fatty acid or triglyceride to the patient because it is easily absorbed. It is easily absorbable or easily digestible lipids. It is easily it is easily absorbed or digested in our body. এটা ବହୁତ ଜଲ୍ଦି ଆଉ ବହୁତ ଭଲରେ absorb करे ଆଉ ବହୁତ ଭଲରେ digestion ହୁଏ. This is called circulation, enterohepatic circulation of bile. The transport and storage of fats in the body. In the body, liver decided transport of lipids in aqueous phase of blood. It coats the triglyceride and cholesterol with protein and phospholipid cells, and then it will transport to and store in the liver. Some LDL oxidizes, which is usually scavenged by WBC and releases cholesterol in vessel walls over the year of developed plaques. Then what are the functions of fats and oils? Fats and oils contribute to texture, flavor, taste, increase palatability of the diet. Fat, it gives good flavor, good taste, good texture and increases palatability of the diet. They provide as effective medium of heat transport to deep frying and transfer of flavors from Indian spices. It means number one function is it gives good texture, good flavor and good taste to the food. Fats have highest heat energy density of 9 kilocalorie per gram. Then 1 gram of fats contain 9 kilocalorie. The 1 gram of fats contains 9 kilocalorie. It is more calorious and it is more energetic also. It is major storage from the energy in body, requiring less space and minimum water of hydration is compared to protein in muscle or glycogen. Adipose cells are 80% lipids and 20% water and protein. Then fat have highest heat energy density or major storage of energy in the body. Second point is, then fat is essential for meeting nutritional need of essential fatty acid like linoleic acid, alpha linoleic acids. So our body needs essential fatty acids, and also fats are essential to meet nutritional needs alpha linoleic acid or omega 3 and omega 6 fatty acids. Then fat promotes absorption of soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, E, K. Fats आउटे कौन करे ना, it absorbs of soluble vitamins A, D, E, K को is quickly absorbs in our body. It requires essential fatty acids. Water miscible preparation of these vitamins therefore prescribed. ता माने it gives good texture, taste और texture and taste flavor दिए. आउटे हला तार एनर्जिक माने एनर्जी जोटा कैलोरीफिक वैल्यू जोटा अच्छी समस्त को सेटा बहुत बढ़िया कारण सब एनर्जी आमर कार्बोहाइड्रेट इज 4 किलो कैलोरी 1 ग्राम 1 ग्राम ऑफ प्रोटीन इज 4 किलो कैलोरी बट 1 ग्राम ऑफ फैट इज 9 kilo calorie. It is very highest energy density calorie. And then the third one is essential meeting nutritional of essential fatty acid. It absorbs the essential fatty acids. It is some of the essential fatty acids required by the body for our vital organs functions. Vital organ functions ପାଇଁ କି हमको essential fatty acids दरकार जेमति कि हमको medium triglycerides हला कि हमरो ओमेगा 3 ओमेगा 6 एक्सेट्रा फैटी एसिड्स से कि हमरो न्यूट्रिशनल नीड्स ओडा हमरो requirement fulfill हुए. Then fat promotes absorption of fat soluble vitamins. Fat soluble vitamins which is very much necessary for our body. Fat soluble vitamin हला A, D, E, K जोटा कि without essential fatty acid रे सेटा absorb हेई परिबो नाही. तो fat promotes absorption of fat soluble vitamins. Then fat intake ensures satiety. Feeling of fullness, satisfaction, delays onset of hunger. तो हमें सैटाइटी लेवल को से बैलेंस करके रखे. तो फैट्सटा जदि आम कि फैट्स कि खाऊँ मैंने जितकी परसेंट खाइबा कथा तो आमर फुलनेस जोटा लगे बारंबार हंग्री फिल हुए बारंबार आमको भोक लगे. देन फैट्स along with proteins constitute structural component of cell membrane and some body lipids. Lipoproteins have important role in transport of lipids in blood. So lipoproteins, the functions of lipoproteins is transport of lipids in blood to various parts of the organs. Then fat serves as thermal insulator in the subcutaneous tissues and certain organs. Some lipids act as electrical insulator allowing rapid propagations of depolarization where belong to myelinated nerves, and the fat content of the nervous tissue particularly high. The fat serves as a thermal insulator in the subcutaneous tissues and certain it is good for nervous system. That's why fats is a good very much good act on our nervous system or nervous related disorder. Then anorexia nervosa, the body fat cell dangerously low shows problem in insulations. Body hair stands erect to trap air and stimulate insulation. Then some dietary fats contain antioxidants also. Most of them contain antioxidants which confirms stability of the oil and prevent rancidity. Palm oil contain tocotrienols and tocopherols and beta carotenes. Sesame oils contain lignins and rice bran contains tocotrienols. And SDL decrease plasma cholesterol, treat nerve imbalance, menopause disorder, retarded aging, etc. It means the dietary fats contain antioxidants and it helps on to enhance our immune systems. माने आमर जोटा आमर इम्यूनि सिस्टम टाकू बहुत भलरे माने माने बहुत इम्यूनि सिस्टम को एते डेवलप कराए जहाँ फल कि आमर जहाँ भी माने एंटी एजिंग हो कि आमर कौन सी प्रकार जमती लॉन्ग टर्म डिजीज हो ये सब जिनस गुड़ा आमको हो न थाए. तो डाइटरी फैट्स कंटेन सम एंटीऑक्सीडेंट्स. The unsaturated fats are susceptible to oxidation and rancidity. Most oils are natural antioxidants, but some food manufacturers have an option to add synthetic antioxidant like bifrolated, BHA and BST to prevent rancidity. One thing is sure that vitamin E requirement of man are linked to PUFA intake. Then daily intake of 2400 kilocalorie Indian diet contains 40 gram of fat, whereas 25 gram is invisible and 15 gram is visible. Nutritional requirement of fats and oils. What are the nutritional requirements of fats and oils? Are 40 gram of fat where 25 gram is invisible and 15 is visible fat. Visible fats are oil and ghee, butter, etc. Invisible fats we get from cereals, pulses, etc. and or oil seeds, nuts, etc. This works out that invisible fat is 10 and 25 gram into 9 kilocalorie divided by calorie, which we will in recommended calorie divided by recommended calorie, where 1 gram fat gives 9 kilocalorie and the recommended calorie is 2400. Then 1 gram of fat gives 9 kilocalorie is equal to 25 gram of fats. Then the upper income group, especially in urban areas, tends to consume high as 50 gram of visible fat, and invisible fat contains into 30 to 50% due to consumption of fat-rich food, whole milk, milk product, etc. Then adult, according to ICMR, it here mentioned that in from 1919 ICMR guidelines, but we have to follow 2020's guidelines. And adults EFA requirement is 3%, invisible fat 10, and minimal visible fat is 5 and 12. Then suggested desirable visible fat is 20 and 9. Then pregnancy lactation time, it contains requirement is 30 gram per day, and infancy 30 gram fats intake by infants through breastfeeding, and 10% is linoleic acids and 1% is linolenic acids. And breast milk thus meet EFA needs of infants of 6%. Then younger children needs 20 gram per day in children's diet from oil which is at least 20% linoleic acids by essential fatty acids. Choice of cooking medium in context of N3 and N6 omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acid ratios in Indian diets. Then moderate linoleic acids contain oil like groundnut oil, rice bran oil or sesame oil, and soybean oil contain both linoleic acid and alpha linoleic acids. Then B is use high linoleic acids like sunflower oil, safflower oil, cottonseed oil, palm oil, and mustard oil also it contains omega-6. Then soybean oil, etc. SPA, MUFA and PUFA is 1 is to 1. Saturated fatty acid, MUFA and PUFA 1 is to 1 is to 1. Blending rice bran oil with safflower oil and ratio is 7 is to 3 is very promising. We will take in daily routine saturated fatty acid is 1%, MUFA is 1% and PUFA is 1% in blending rice bran oil with sunflower oil. In ratio 7 is to 3 is promising, is very good for our health. It is the ratios here given that SPF, MUFA and PUFA is 1 is to 1 is to 1, and SPF, MUFA and PUFA is 1 is to 5 is to 1. Monounsaturated fatty acid is 5, PUFA is 1 and saturated fatty acid is 1, which is effective in preventing heart disease. In case of heart disease, we should follow one ratio such as saturated fatty acid is 1, MUFA is 5 and PUFA is 1. According to American Heart Association and Japanese Ministry of Health and Welfare, we should follow one ratio such as 1 is to 5 is to 1. Then fat soluble vitamins and vitamin A, D, E, K are all are fat soluble vitamins are found in nature in close association with fatty acids such as butter, cream, vegetable oil, meat, poultry, fish and other products. Fat soluble vitamins are, these are the food sources which are butter, cream, vegetable oil, meat, poultry, fish, etc. Then fats soluble vitamins are A, D, E, K, and presence of fat required for the assimilation of these vitamins in the body. In the presence of fats, it can be absorbed in our, it will absorb in our body as the fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, K are absorbed with the presence of fats or essential fatty acids. Food sources are all kinds of ghee, butter, cream, vegetable oils, etc. Absorption and storage and eliminations are realize that all fat soluble vitamins undergo similar metabolic fate absorbed along with the fat. How it will absorb? It is absorbed. Oil soluble vitamins are absorbed along with fats from the small intestine. In small intestine, it will absorb with the help of fats. Then the salt of the bile acids, taurine and glycine, derivatives of the folic acid, and are the digestion promotion of constitute of the bile. These are surface active agents. The lower surface tensions and emulsifies the fat, or activation of the enzyme lipase. With the help of pancreatic enzyme lipase and bile with the essential fatty acid, these are absorbed in our body. Oil soluble vitamin. Bioavailability are including physiological biochemical process involved in intestinal absorption, transport, metabolism, excretion of the nutrient. Then first we will ingest the fat soluble vitamins. Then after utilization, intestinal absorption, then transport to the other various body parts, then metabolism, then excretion of the nutrients. In other words, it was fraction of ingested vitamins absorbed, utilized for normal physiological function of the storage. Required and recommended dietary allowances are hypo and hypervitaminosis. When hypo means under vitamin absorption in our body, hyper means higher vitamins storage in our body. Hypo hela under vitamin, हमको vitamin ର requirement अछि. In hyper cases we need less vitamins because it already deposited in our body. So, criteria of assessing vitamin status. Ability to accurately assess vitamin status requires criteria which are unique in the vitamin and vitamin A. What is vitamin A? Vitamin A is fat soluble vitamin and a subgroup of retinoids and possesses the biological activity to the all trans retinols. The term retinoids include both naturally occurring form of vitamin A and synthesis along with the process of the isomers. The food sources are vitamin A or retinols are we found these foods from animal origins such as milk, cheese, cream, butter, ghee, egg, fish, kidneys. It is the animal source of vitamin. Vitamin A, retinol is animal source of vitamins, and we get the food sources from animals. Then liver oils of fish, halibut, scots, and sharks. Then provitamin A, so called because it is a precursor and has been chemically transferred into retinol. Or beta carotene is found primarily in plant food. Retinol we will found in animal sources of vitamin A, and beta carotene is found primarily in plant sources or plant food such as orange, yellow, and green colored yellow, orange colored pigments, or green also known as carotenoids. Beta carotene is most widely distributed carotenoid in the plant fruit. Palm fruits, are green leafy vegetables, ripe fruits such as mango, papaya, apricots, and yellow, orange vegetables like carrot, pumpkin, sweet potato, rich in beta carotene. Then beta carotene is found in plant food, and retinol is found in animal sources of vitamin A. Then absorption and storage and excretion. Vitamin A and carotenoids ends to aggregate with lipid with globulus which passes into the small intestine. All vitamin source of all oil soluble vitamins are digested with the help of essential fatty acids, with the help of enzymes, pancreatic enzyme, and with bile. Bile ଆଉ ଆମର lipase ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ହିଁ ଏଟା ଆମ ବଡିରେ absorb ହୁଏ. All kinds of fat soluble vitamins. Bioavailability. Then role of vitamin A. Functions of vitamin A role. It is in visual perception and functions. Then it is ironically that small amount of less than 10 gram of fresh leaves can meet the day's requirement of vitamin A of preschool child. Estimated 2,50,000 to 5 lakhs BAD children world over became blind every year due to the vitamin A deficiency. Administration last dose of vitamin A to the children at risk has been most popular approach to control national nutritional blindness. We have to control nutritional blindness while giving the vitamin A rich food both from retinol form and as well as carotene form, beta carotene. Role in growth and cellular differentiation, role in immunoresponse. It controls our inflammations, infections in our body, and epithelial tissues. Role in growth and cellular differentiation. Role as antioxidant also. Some carotenoids serves as source of vitamin A in functions as antioxidants. Then it is good for bone and nerves also. Role in protein metabolism and growth. Role in production of mucoproteins and macropolysaccharides. It also it produces mucoproteins as mucus present in our lungs, and also um, in lungs as well as in anus, in through our sexual organs, etc. Mucoproteins are there. It is the roles of vitamin A is very necessary to macropolysaccharides as well as it produce mucoproteins. Roles in reproduction also. Deficiency of vitamin A leads in infertility in male and failure of female to conceive or reabsorption or abortions of the fetus. So that's why it is very much necessary in cases of reproductions, in protein metabolism, for our nerves and bones, and it roles as antioxidants and growth and cellular, and it controls our infections and inflammations. So vitamin A is very much necessary, and requirement recommended dietary allowances are here. In 6 months we need microgram of 350 and 1200 beta carotenes are requirement micrograms. Then 6 to 12 months 350 and 1200 to prevent night blindness. Clinical assessments are conjunctival impressions by cytology CIS, and dietary assessment attends serum vitamin A content normal, deficiency subclinical are there. Then vitamin E is required to of beta carotene and retinol in to protect the oxidation of this compound. Proteins, zinc and iron status of the individual correlated with vitamin A. Then next is vitamin D. Vitamin D is a generic term and indicates a molecule of the general structure with rings A, B, C, D. As you have noticed that two types of vitamin D are there, ergocalciferol D2, cholecalciferol D3. As the form of two types of vitamins D are there, ergocalciferol D2, cholecalciferol D3. Vitamin D can either be made in the skin from a cholesterol-like precursors by exposure to sunlight or provided preformed in the diet. The version made in the skin is referred to as vitamin D3. When the sun rays will when we will expose in sun rays, then the skin creates one vitamin known as vitamin D3. The version made in the skin is referred to as D3 or cholecalciferol, and when we will get from plant origin is known as vitamin D through ergocalciferol. Then provitamins and main steps of reaction is D3 and D2. Sources of vitamin D are, main sources is vitamin sunshine vitamin manufactured in the skin from 7-dehydrocholesterol on exposure to sunlight. When we expose our body to the sunlight, It creates vitamin D3 or cholecalciferol and dehydro 7 dehydrocholesterol on exposure to sunlight. Then small amount present in dietary products such as milk, cheese, butter, cream, egg yolk, liver, oyster. Animal source of proteins are also there, but number one is sunshine vitamin and another one is animal source of vitamin D. Then absorption and storage elimination. Lack of bile, fat absorbs such as lack of bile disorder such as celiac disease results in poor absorption of vitamin D. In cases of any celiac disease or abdominal disorder, in these cases vitamin D cannot be absorbed properly. जदि किसी celiac disease की किसी pancreatitis हो liver disorder हो यही सब cases रे और metabolic disorder जमती हमर diabetes होइला ये सब metabolic disorder जब भी जति की रहिला आ metabolic disorder plus हमर celiac disorder ये सब जगह रे बहुत भलो रे it is not possible to absorb vitamin D properly in our body. Then once absorption is complete, vitamin D enters the blood as a part of chylomicrons. Vitamin D formed in the skin by the direct irradiation of the provitamin present in the skin directly absorbed in the bloodstream. The vitamin is stored in concentrated quantities in the liver and lesser in the skin, spleen, lung, etc. But it is mostly absorbed in our liver. Liver is absorbed from most of the D. And then skin, spleen, lungs, brain, kidney, etc. etc. The main pathway of the excretion of vitamin D is through the bile into small intestine and fecal excretion. Then in common bile duct or small intestine, it will to the fecal excretion. Then less than 4% of the intake of vitamin is excreted by the urinary tract. Urinary minimal excrete हुए. The content of vitamin D is normal level of calcium and phosphate, which are in turn needed for the normal mineralization of bone, muscle contraction, nerve conduction, general cellular functions of the. It amoro nerve function, nerve activation. It is very much good for our nerve activation and for our bones. And mineralization of bone, muscle contraction. It also helps in our muscle contraction. Contraction and expansion, etc. And it is good for our nervous function, the cellular function. Vitamin D also modulates the transcriptions of cell cycles proteins, decrease cell proliferation and mobilization of bone and calcium phosphorus. Then it helps in to absorb calcium and phosphorus in our body. Sorry, it helps to absorb calcium and phosphorus in our body for mobilization of the bone. Then mineralization of the formation of new bone. For new bone mineralization, it requires vitamin D. Role in the production of non-collagenous protein, osteocalcin, and vitamin K dependent protein found in bone matrix and dentine. Bone growth and development also need vitamin D. Then modulation and transformation of cell cycle proteins. Cell cycles proteins, it also need vitamin D. And formation of enzyme. Vitamin D is essential for the formation of two enzymes, alkaline phosphates in the intestinal lining or adenosine triphosphate collagen formation in the bone. Collagen is required for the bone mobilizations. One of the collagen is needed, and vitamin D is essential formation of enzyme for bone mobilization. Bone ro jo movements अच्छी, bone ro jo mobilizations अच्छी, it requires some enzymes. से enzymes का vitamin D रो presence enzymes का production हुए. Regulations of amino acids level in the blood. Vitamin D helps to prevent loss of amino acids to the kidney and regulate the amino acid level, and also regulate the level of citric acid in tissues and bones. The amino acid levels বা ଆମର जोटा amino acid levels বা proteins levels in the blood जोटा थाए, तो ସେଇଟାକୁ ଆମକୁ किडनी थ्रू रे जोटा प्रिवेंट लॉस ऑफ amino acid थ्रू द किडनी जोटा एक्सक्रेट करे एक्स्ट्रा जो प्रोटीन वेस्ट जोड़ा, तो सेटाକୁ से कंट्रोल रे रखे. amino acid level, regulate the level of citric acid level. And then participations in muscle formation and metabolism. So muscle formation by also it is very much necessary. Setପାଇଁ muscle formation vitamin D takes part in muscle function and mobilization or metabolism. Muscle ର functions ଆଉ ତାର metabolism ପାଇଁ କି ମଧ୍ୟ vitamin D is very much necessary. Inhibition of cancer cell proliferations and growth. ସେ କ'ଣ କରେ ନା it controls the cancerous cells or diminishes proliferation abnormal intestinal lymphatic mammary skeletal cell. ସେଥିପାଇଁ କି କୌଣସି ବହୁତ inflammations infections cases ରେ vitamin D is very much necessary for our body. Role in the immune system. Immune response ପାଇଁ କି to mediated by T cells can be inhibited large doses of calcitriol. Vitamin D with calcium is calcitriol. Calcitriol ଟା ବହୁତ ଦରକାର ହୁଏ. Active form of vitamin D. A deficiency of vitamin D also interferes with T cells immediate immunity. Immunity enhancer role in the immune system or immune enhancers also. Vitamin D is very much necessary. Regulation of blood pressure. The renin-angiotensin system regulates the blood pressure. Synthesis of renin is decreased and calcitriol through its interaction with the vitamin D regulator. तो रेगुलेशन ब्लड प्रेशर को कंट्रोल करने कि हमको विटामिन डी रो बहुत नेसेसरी थाए. ब्लड प्रेशर कंट्रोल करे, इम्यूनि एनहांस करे, देन मसल फॉर्मेशन मेटाबॉलिज्म करे, देन कैंसर सेल को हमको ग्रोथ थ्रू पूरा हमको control. It controls the cancer cell spreading of cancer cells in our body. सेटा को कंट्रोल ले रखे. देन अमीनो एसिड्स लेवल्स को कंट्रोल ले रखे. एंजाइम फॉर्म करे जहाँ फल कि हमर बोन रो मोबिलिटी टा बहुत बढ़े एंड मॉड्यूलेशन ट्रांसक्रिप्शन ऑफ सेल साइकिल प्रोटीन्स बोन ग्रोथ डेवलपमेंट और मिनरलाइजेशन पाई कि न्यू बोन रो जो फॉर्मेशन हुए जो माने ग्रोन अप स्टेजेस रे थांदी न्यू बोन मिनरलाइजेशन पाई कि दरकार हुए. इट इज दीज आर द फंक्शंस ऑफ विटामिन डी. Then recommended dietary allowances of vitamin D are in table 7.3 recommended doses are there. 200 international unit, 7 to 12 months, 0 to 6 months, and vitamin starters are nutrients, calcium, phosphorus, vitamin K, and iron. What are the starters? Interaction of vitamin D with other nutrients. Then vitamin D metabolism is interlinked related with calcium, phosphorus, and vitamin K and iron. Interrelated with calcium, phosphorus. In cases of vitamin D metabolism रे ता संगे interlinked अच्छी हमारे calcium, phosphorus, vitamin K and iron. Both are interlinked in at the time of metabolism of vitamin D. जितने vitamin D metabolism हुए तो एमाने सबू तार इंट्रैक्शन रे आसंती calcium, phosphorus आर माने ए सबू ए समस्तंकर विदाउट कोलाबोरेशन रे तो ए जिनस गुड़ा भलरे एब्जॉर्प्शन हुए बा मेटाबॉलिज्म हुई पारेनी. Calcium. The interaction of vitamin D with calcium has already been discussed earlier. Vitamin D initiate calcium absorption whereas activation of protein kinase. So without calcium, vitamin D cannot be absorbed in our body, or without vitamin D, calcium cannot. Without vitamin D, calcium cannot be absorbed in our body. So phosphorus. Vitamin D increases the activity of gross border alkaline phosphorus and phosphorus absorption. So without vitamin D, phosphorus also cannot be absorbed. तो कैल्शियम फॉस्फोरस टा हमरो बोन मिनरलाइजेशन ପାଇଁ କି ଦରକାର ହୁଏ. तो डी रो जदि डी डेफिशिएंसी रे एदिटा बॉडी रे एब्जॉर्ब न हेले तो बोन रो स्ट्रेंथ ता आसे नै. The vitamin K and interrelationship exists between vitamin D and K based on the relationship to the mineral calcium. Then vitamin K dependent protein bind calcium. Vitamin K it also helps to bind calcium. So these fours are interlinked to each other. Without vitamin K, calcium cannot be absorbed or bind. Then iron decreases in vitamin D has been observed as a result of iron deficiency. A decrease in the vitamin D deficiency hella, so iron cannot be absorbed. So iron, calcium, phosphorus, vitamin K both are interlinked at the time of metabolism and absorption in our body. Next is vitamin E. Excuse me. Vitamin E is the generic term of tocopherols and tocotrienols that have phenolic functional groups as chromatin ring system and isoprene side chain. Uh, Vitamin E is also known as oil soluble vitamins. Sources are found in wheat germ, corn, nuts, seeds, olives, spinach, asparagus, and other green leafy vegetables contain vitamin E. Vegetable oils, groundnut, soya, cotton seeds, supply all kinds of oil-rich foods, oil-rich sources are known as vitamin E. Then vitamin for example, sunflower seed oils contain approximately 50 mg tocopherol into 100 gram of contrast soybean oil contains only 10 mg of tocopherol in 100 ml. If you will take 100 ml of oil, soybean oil and alpha tocopherol, then in case of sunflower seed oil, it contains approximately 50 mg of tocopherol in 100 ml of oil. Then the proportion of different homogeneous of oils are there because vitamin E is naturally present in plant-based diet, and vitamin E is completely present in plant-based diet, whole grain cereals, dark green leafy vegetables, and pulses, nuts, oilseeds, etc. In animal products such as egg yolk, butter, livers are there. Because animal source of vitamins are oil soluble vitamins are always of two types. One is animal source of vitamins and another one is plant source of vitamins. Then in animals, in vitamin E, plant sources are all kinds of pulses, nuts, and vegetables, green leafy vegetables and cereals products. And in animals product, egg yolk, butter and liver are there. In vegetable oils and processed foods, intakes are probably adequate to avoid over deficiency in some situations. Then vitamin E. Absorption and storage of vitamin E. Absorption and storage of vitamin E in intestine depends on the adequate pancreatic functions. If the pancreatic function is good, then vitamin E can be it can be easily absorbed in our body. Is very good absorption due to the pancreatic or according to the pancreatic good functions. Pancreatic functions ଯଦି ଠିକ୍ ଥିବ ତାର ଲାଇପେଜ୍ ସିକ୍ରେସନଟା ଆମର ଫ୍ୟାଟ୍ ସଲ୍ୟୁବଲ୍ ଭିଟାମିନକୁ ଡାଇଜେସନ୍ କରାଏ। ସେଥିପାଇଁ pancreatic functionsରେ ହିଁ ଆମର ଏଇସବୁ ଭିଟାମିନ୍ସଟା ଆବଜର୍ଭ ହୁଏ। ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଦେଖିବେ pancreatitis ପେସେଣ୍ଟ ମାନେ ସବୁବେଳେ ଲିନ୍ ଥିନ୍ ଥାଆନ୍ତି, ମସଲ୍ ୱେଷ୍ଟିଂରେ ଥାଆନ୍ତି, କାରଣ ତାଙ୍କର ୱାଟର ଅଏଲ୍ ସଲ୍ୟୁବଲ୍ ଭିଟାମିନ୍ସ ଆର୍ ନଟ୍ ଆବଜର୍ଭ ଇନ୍ ଆୱାର ବଡି ଇନ୍ ଦେୟାର ବଡି। ତାଙ୍କର ଯେହେତୁ ତାଙ୍କର ଲାଇପେଜ୍ର ଇମ୍ବାଲାନ୍ସ ଥାଏ ବା ଲାଇପେଜ୍ର ତାଙ୍କର ମାନେ ଲାଇପେଜ୍ର ମାନେ ସେ ଏନ୍ଜାଇମ୍ର ଫଙ୍କସନ୍ ସେତେ ନଥାଏ କାରଣ ପ୍ୟାନକ୍ରିଆସ୍ ପୁରା ୱିକ୍ ଥାଏ, ତ ସେଇ କେସେସ୍ରେ ଅଏଲ୍ ସଲ୍ୟୁବଲ୍ ଭିଟାମିନ୍ସ ଆର୍ ନଟ୍ ଆବଜର୍ଭ ପ୍ରପରଲି ଇନ୍ ଆୱାର ବଡି। ତ biliary sections and visceral formation, these are the dietary lipids and emulsification and solubilizations within mixed bile salt missions। ଆଉ ଲିଭରର ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ୍ସ ଆସିଲେ ତ ସେଇ ସବୁ ଲିଭର୍ସ ଆଉ ପ୍ୟାନକ୍ରିଆଟିକ୍ ଡିଜିଜ୍ରେ ତ ଅଏଲ୍ ସଲ୍ୟୁବଲ୍ ଭିଟାମିନ୍ସ ଆର୍ ନଟ୍ properly absorbed. Then vitamin E is transported in the blood by the plasma lipoproteins and erythrocytes and chylomicrons carry tocopherol from the enterocyte to the liver. They are incorporated in the cells and absorbed in the liver, stored in the liver. Then storage. Vitamin E is mainly stored in muscles and adipose tissues, and vitamin E content of the erythrocytes is about 20% of the plasma, and there is the efficient exchange between this pool. Vitamin E is stored in the very much in muscles, and eat a muscle and wax soluble vitamins are always stored in the muscles and adipose tissues. Adipose tissues and muscles are stored with vitamin E content. Vitamin E content. Uh, Hence, vitamin E is homologous, not preferentially selected by the hepatic binding proteins are eliminated during the process of VLDL secretions in the liver and probably excreted in the bile and excreted in the sebaceous gland. So, vitamin E are always absorbed in our muscles and in adipose tissues. Then functions of vitamin E. Vitamin E is the major lipid soluble and antioxidant in the cell antioxidant. Then protection of polyunsaturated fatty acids by PUFA from oxidative damage. Then protection of polyunsaturated fatty acids from the oxidative damage. Vitamin E is located primarily within the phospholipids bilayers of the cell's membranes, and elevated levels of lipid peroxidation products are associated with numerous disease clinical conditions. It helps in protection of polyunsaturated fatty acid from oxidative damage. From the oxidative damage, it protects the PUFA, vitamin E. Then protection of erythrocytes. Vitamin E protects erythrocytes from homolysis by the production of oxidizing agents, diarylic acids and hydrogenic peroxide. Protection of erythrocytes and protection of cell membrane. Protection against poisoning. It protects liver from injury due to carbon tetrachloride poisoning. When a person ingests one carbon tetrachloride poisoning, then E will help or protect the liver from injury. Then protection of both vitamin A and carotenes. It protects vitamin A and vitamin B carotene from the destruction by oxidation, especially in the alimentary tract. Then production of enzyme and proteins. And vitamin E is necessary to production of enzymes and proteins, and productions of reductions in free radical generations and membrane damage. And the membrane damage, the vitamin E act as a selenium, thereby reducing susceptible LDL by oxidation. Vitamin E act as a very much synergetically to protect the reduction in free radical generation and membrane damage. Then prevention of diseases. Antioxidant functions, it roles in inhibiting cell proliferation and smooth muscles. E supplementations are 200 to 400 mg per day. It is very safely to take 200 to 400 mg per day. Vitamin E prevents from lots of diseases. Antioxidant function, it has antioxidant functions, that's why it prevents diseases. It regulates the enzyme activities and free radical generations and enzymes, production of enzymes and proteins, and protection of both vitamin A and carotenes, and protects against poisoning, and protections of cell membrane, and protection of erythrocytes. Dietary recommendations are 8 mg for female and 10 mg for males. Interaction with other nutrients. Other nutrients means selenium, vitamin E is directly related to selenium, other fat soluble vitamins. Selenium and intra-relationship exists between vitamin E and selenium function as an integral part of glutathione peroxidase, an enzyme that converts lipid peroxide into lipid alcohol. So selenium selenium helps to absorb vitamin E in our body as an integral part of glutathione peroxide to enzyme, or selenium helps to absorb vitamin E into the body. Vitamin A, D, K, and vitamin A, D, K. A high intake of vitamin E interferes with the functions of other fat-soluble vitamins. So, vitamin A, D, K are fat-soluble vitamins. Intake of vitamin E interferes with the functions of other fat-soluble vitamins. If you will take high amount of vitamin E in our diets, then it interferes of absorption of other oil soluble vitamins such as ADK. ADK ମାନେ ଯେତେବେଳେ E ଟା ଆମେ ବହୁତ ମାତ୍ରାରେ ନେବା ତ ସେତେବେଳେ ADK ଟା absorption ଭଲରେ ହେଇନଥାଏ. And vitamin D in terms of bone mineralization while in case of vitamin A deficiency. So vitamin D in terms of bone mineralization, while in case of vitamin A deficiency, it lowers the rate of vitamin A depletion from the liver. It protects the production substrate from oxidation. So, ଆମେ ଯଦି over intake of vitamin E is interferes in the absorption of ADK, and if other with the functions of other fat soluble vitamins such as vitamin K absorption and vitamin D in terms of bone mineralization, while in case of vitamin deficiency. In case of vitamin A deficiency, K and D cannot be absorbed properly. Then a depletion from the liver, it protects the products and substance from the oxidation. Then polyunsaturated fatty acids, PUFA. A relationship between vitamin E and dietary PUFA is strong, and we have already studied earlier because the requirement of the vitamin increases or decreases or the dietary intakes of PUFA rises or falls. Then last vitamin is the oil soluble vitamin, vitamin K. K is an essential fat soluble micronutrient. K is very much essential fat soluble micronutrient. It is equivalent role in health and normal coagulations. Vitamin K is the family name of fat soluble compounds. Then sources of vitamin K are green leafy vegetables. K is found in cabbage, cauliflower, spinach, other green leafy vegetables as well as cereals. Intestinal microflora synthesize large amount of minoquinones which are potentially available as the source of vitamin K. Quantitative measurements at different sites of human intestine have demonstrated that most of these minoquinones are present in the distal colon. Major forms produced are MK10 and MK11 by Bacteroides. Main sources of vitamin K are green leafy vegetables such as cabbage, cauliflower, spinach, and green leafy vegetables, and etc. and cereals. And bioavailability of K are in different foods. Then absorption, storage, and elimination of vitamin K's are dietary K and absorbed chemically unchanged from the proximal intestine after solubilization of the mixed miscellaneous compounds, bile salts, and pancreatic lipolysis. All fat soluble vitamins are absorbed with the help of bile and lipase. In the small intestine, functions of vitamin A are blood coagulations, blood clotting. It helps our blood to clot in our body. And blood coagulation, the primary function of vitamin K in the body is the maintenance of normal blood coagulations. ବା ଆମର ମାନେ ତାର ଫଙ୍କସନ୍ସ ହେଲା ତ ଆମର ବ୍ଲଡ଼ ବଡ଼ିର କ୍ଲଟ୍ କରିବା ବା ଥିନ୍ କଲା ମାନେ ଆମର ବ୍ଲିଡ଼ିଂ ହେଇଯାଏ ତ it helps in vitamin helps in to clot the blood in our body. Then vitamin K dependent carboxylations. Vitamin K act as a cofactor in the synthesis of carboxyglutamic acids, and its main function is to clotting of blood in our body. Deficiency and toxicity of vitamin K. Marginal dietary intake if one undergoes trauma and extensive surgery, etc. Next is 8.3 thiamine by vitamin B1 or anivarin. Thiamine is one of the earliest recognized vitamins. The chemical structure of thiamine was established by William in 1936. In 1936, William discovered as vitamin B1 as thiamine. Food sources are rice, polishing rice, wheat germ, dried yeast, yeast extract. Good sources are whole cereals, whole wheat, millets, raw and hand pounded or parboiled rice, pulses, soybeans, dried beans, oil seeds, nuts, etc. Then fair sources are meat, fish, eggs, milks, vegetables and fruits. B1 vitamins are what is the absorption and storage and elimination? After a meal, thiamine is found in the intestine in the free form. So after ingesting of cereal-based diet, thiamine is found in the intestine in the free form. Thiamine is found in the intestine, both in active and passive form. At lower intraluminal concentration, thiamine is absorbed by an active sodium-dependent carrier mediated system. Thiamine is absorbed primarily from the upper jejunum by diffusion by an active transport mechanism but can also occur in the duodenum and ileum. The thiamine is absorbed in the upper jejunum or active transport mechanism occur in duodenum and ileum. All the digestions of thiamine is on jejunum and last in the duodenum and then in the ileum. It means the thiamine absorption or thiamine digestion completely held done in the our jejunum.